What's going on, everyone? Oh man, so much news came out today that there's like, I could make like 4 or 5 videos. So we have a lot to talk about. First, let's talk about Sony numbers. But in relation to how all those people are flipping out, thinking that PlayStation is something's going to happen. What have we been telling them? What have I been telling them? Definitely me, right? I've been telling them that, people don't buy PlayStation to play first party games all day. It's not even possible to begin with, right? Think about it. No. So as you take a look at these stats right here, we're going to go to another post too, with Sony talking about live service, right? Because when you think about the Concord fear, when you think about how they never want to experience that again, and the statement they made saying that'll never happen again, including Xbox, Nintendo, and all the other platforms, they went for live service, solidifies more security for the population, for the profit, and just having all those people there and looking more successful. Sony is going to make sure that's Death Stranding fully connected. You see what I mean? They don't want no Death Stranding. No, they want a whole entire live population. They want PlayStation Live service to look successful. And you got to think about it. If you wanted the highest level of emotional security, then you wouldn't stick to your platform. You would branch out to PC, you would branch out to Xbox, and you would branch out to Nintendo. Then, at least at that point, you gave it your all and you branched out as much as possible. This is important to talk about because we're going to get to that in a second. So going over here, PlayStation quarterly results, Q1 fiscal year 2026. Pony, sit down. No gamers, relax. Only over 80.3 million PlayStation 5 consoles have shipped. That's how much they've shipped to the retailers. What's going on? You see what I mean? Dude, that's like I tell y'all, it doesn't matter. The game is over with in that sense. You're not going to stop the Japanese from selling. The other ones that carry console gaming. Nintendo, then Sony. PS5 hardware sales increased 4.1% this quarter to 2.5 billion. They're still getting a percentage increase. Gaming and network services, 8% year-on-year growth. Operating income profit, 127%. Income profit, I said profit, yeah, not revenue, climbed. What games were they releasing first party? You see what I mean? Look at this system, the way that it works. I'm trying to show y'all something. Software sales of reached 65.9. They're 23% up. See, this is all other games. Software sales. That's what I'm telling you. It's just third party. PlayStation Network monthly active users increased 6%. They had a growth on every category possible. It's before the Switch came out, but still, it's good to know. 116 million to 123 million players, or somewhere around that, during the same period in previous fiscal year. So yeah, I don't think they're going to give PC data, but we get the idea here. Congratulations. I'm not no hater. Look, gaming is still alive. Gaming is growing. I do not want to see any aspect of gaming go down. You know what I mean? That's why I do what I do for even Xbox, because it's like I'm still helping in a way. You know what I mean? And there's only so much you can do until Microsoft decides to do things too. But you don't want to see any platform die. So I'm not coming in and trying to kill off a platform. No. I'm gonna help back it up a little bit because that's what I do. As just the gaming aspect of me. Now, we got a lot of things here to get into inside a gamer. Sony admits its live service shift isn't going smoothly. See? Okay, so we just went through this, right? But let's get to the live service. What's the issue? What's the fear for Sony? It's right here. They're telling you that their live service isn't going smoothly as you thought. Of course. That's why you needed extra operations too. They need more help so they can still focus on first party. This is an idea that I think people never thought about. Imagine if there's no weight on your first party teams because you set up an operation to make sure that doesn't happen. That way you can still focus on what you're doing and you're getting that operation going as well too. This is another huge method that Sony has running because they're thinking about the long term, they're not thinking about the short term. All this is long term. Now, clicking on this article and going over to it, it says Sony admits its live service games isn't going smoothly, right? Sony says that its shift in strategy to more live service games has been going smoothly. Wait, hold on. Now it says has been going smoothly. But hold on. What's going on here? Okay. During his latest earnings call on Thursday, Chief Financial Officer Lin Tao said that in terms of the transformation, the move towards more live service offerings is not entirely going smoothly. Well, Sony, you're not the masters of live service. Now you're trying to do more than what you were doing before after all the cancels. I mean, I'm not going to expect you to come out and be perfect on that. But from a long-term perspective, what I tell y'all, if you look at the changes over 5 years, you see that there definitely has been change. Yeah. Tal then talked about the fact that 5 years ago, live service games were almost non-existent for PlayStation Studios. And they're being criticized about that. Because in the PS3 era, they actually took chances. Remember Warhawk, Mag, PlanetSide, DC Universe Online. Remember, Sony had a whole live service team, and they sold it all because it just wasn't doing what they wanted to do. But it was all there. Remember, online was free and everything, and they had it going like PC. It was nice. A lot of people liked that. The only thing they messed up on was that cell processor. But getting down here, Tal then talked about the fact that 5 years ago, live service games were almost non-existent for PlayStation Studios, but now the studio has successful games such as Helldivers 2, Gran Turismo 7, Destiny 2, and MLB The Show. So we have these four live service contributing to sales and profit in a stable manner, she said. Despite these successes, Tal says that Sony recognizes that issue still remains, that they need to learn lessons from moving forward. She says that the company has to make sure they introduce live service content where there's less waste and it's more smooth. With that being said, Tal said, or was clear to mention, that live service games made up roughly 40% of Sony's revenue for the first quarter. See, this is what they're pushing for. For the year, she says it's in the range of 20 to 30%. That's critical information right there. Speaking of live service games, Sony says that Marathon is still planned to release by the end of March 2026. So if they're going to be doing Helldivers for Xbox, which we know is coming out this month, and then you got Marathon, those two teams they need consistently up and active, they're going to be doing that. And I'm pretty sure that's going to Nintendo too, and they're working on that right now. While there is always a possibility of another delay or cancellation, Tal doesn't expect that to happen. See, they're coming out and telling you, we hear what you're saying, but right now we don't think we're going to be canceling Marathon. What they're doing is they're doubling down. It says, what do you think of Sony's shift to more live service games the last handful of years? Let us know down below and over in the official Insider Gaming forums, right? Interesting stuff. So closing this out, going over to William. Guys, he's back. Niv definitely has some competition. Are we ready? Let me zoom in for y'all. We don't credit Zubitech for Image 3. Uh-huh. But, you know, he was going to go PC. What happened? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sony's monthly active users definitely have went up, by the way. But guys, what is going on here, man? And whoa, man, hold up, man, hold up, man, what the fuck is he doing? Damn, his love is deep for Sony. Let's take a look at some highlights real quick. This is the end of the video right here. We got a lot to do here. Breaking news, Sony PlayStation fiscal year 2021, quarter one, April-June report. Sony should hire him. I think he's fitted for the role. Full breakdown, highlights, and analysis. Sony One's fiscal year, year-on-year fiscal quarter opening income, plus 36%. Guys, imagine how long it took him to put this together without getting paid for it. This guy's really, really doing this. Year-on-year, 127% jump, significant increase. Games and network services. Sony sold 2.5 million PlayStation 5s, a total of 80.3 million PS5 sold so far shipped. Sony sold 100,000 more PS5s in quarter one 2025 compared to 2024 last year. The PlayStation 5 is selling in line with what the PS4 was in the same number of quarters. So we see Zubitech gave this image 82.3 to 80.3. And, you know, it's good. They haven't dropped any prices and, you know, all this and that. Like I said, and they're making more money than ever. Third party, that's how it works, see? But with cancellations. That's why I said, guys, it's a third party platform, you know, majorly. Only Nintendo is not that. So we've seen all this, right? Sony is reporting a new record high for revenue, primarily attributed to as you know, games and network services. Sony has increased their net income forecast for the fiscal year due to massive success of the first quarter. Sony's continuing its plan to spin off financial services segment into a different company, with the transition beginning August 8th. Crunchyroll and anime are seeing a massive growth, as we know. On partnerships, we see that they did more investments in Kadokawa from software, Bandai Namco, and that stuff's always going. Marathon, as we just read, we know what's happening with that. On Bungie at this time, Sony offered independent governance to Bungie. However, due to certain factors, they have gone through a restructuring. I'll get into that under another video on Terra. Sony has taken multiple storefronts. This guy has everything for him. 10 single-player games. God of War go to PC 1 to 2 years later. They're bringing these games to Xbox consoles. He's saying it right here. But in 1 or 2 years from now, Xbox consoles won't exist anymore. It will be a brand of mini PCs like the Steam machine, thus making the point moot. Experimental side games and smaller returning previously dead IPs. Uh-oh, dead IPs, y'all. It has to be dead because it's going to Xbox. Lego Horizon, Pot Upon Everyone's Golf can go to other platforms, but not usually Xbox consoles. Okay, so this is only going to Switch. Now, Xbox will not get this. Multiplayer live service transformational, Helldivers 2, Marathon, MLB The Show, Fair Game, future Bungie, Gummy Bears or whatever. So we get this. This is one of the best first quarters in PlayStation history. I'm excited to see what games they will announce later this year. I look forward to playing Ghost of Yotei. Despite all the cancels and all that other stuff, this is what happens though when you're a pony and however else people want to do wherever else. But all that shit is funny to me because, yeah, to him this is it. Sony ain't ever gonna do anything more. This stuff cracks me up, y'all. So it's quite clear though that live service is the main thing when you think about what it takes to even maintain one. It's a weekly job 24/7, right? So there we have it. Let me know what you guys think about this, all right? Peace out. You have a great day. Later. Ponies, sit down. Nib, man, you guys got to get together. Later.